Welcome to Explained Simply. Let's explore interesting things in the world together. Today let's find out top animals so smart that they confuse scientists. 1. The octopus. Master escape artists with distributed minds. If aliens were to visit Earth, their first stop might very well be an aquarium, where they'd observe an octopus effortlessly unscrewing a jar lid and conclude, "Ah, our cousins live here too." These creatures are truly astounding in their intellect, routinely outsmarting even their most diligent caretakers. A legendary tale from the Seattle Aquarium recounts Inky, an octopus who famously escaped his enclosure. He didn't just panic and flee, he meticulously plotted his escape, crawling across the floor and vanishing into a drainpipe that led directly to the vastness of the ocean. Octopuses are not merely instinct-driven, they possess remarkable cognitive abilities. They can recognize individual humans, navigate complex mazes, and even engage in playful interactions with toys purely for enjoyment. Intriguing experiments have even documented them sneaking out of their tanks under the cover of darkness to feast on fish from neighboring habitats, only to return to their own tanks before morning light, like true underwater ninjas. Their intelligence is uniquely distributed, meaning their multiple arms can act and even think independently. Each arm has the astonishing capacity to taste, grab, and make decisions without requiring direct consultation from the central brain. Imagine if your hands had their own strong opinions about what to have for dinner. Scientists are still puzzled by how an animal with such a remarkably short lifespan, often just a few years, has managed to evolve intelligence comparable to that of dogs or even small children. Some speculate it's a byproduct of their solitary existence in a perilous environment, demanding immense creativity for survival. Others humorously suggest they are living proof of extraterrestrial DNA. Regardless of the explanation, every story of an octopus escape invariably makes human intelligence seem a little less extraordinary. 2. Crows. Grudge-holding strategists and innovators. If you ever find yourself on the wrong side of a crow, you might want to consider relocating to a different city. Seriously, these birds possess an unnervingly long memory for human faces. Researchers at the University of Washington made a fascinating discovery. Crows are not only capable of recognizing individuals who have previously threatened them, but will also attack those people, even years later. What's more, they actively educate other crows about who the bad humans are, effectively operating like a feathered neighborhood watch program. Crows don't just retaliate, they strategize with remarkable ingenuity. There are documented instances of them dropping nuts onto crosswalks, allowing passing cars to crack them open, and then patiently waiting for the traffic light to turn red before swooping in to retrieve their shelled prizes. Their complex behaviors extend beyond foraging. They also perform what appear to be funerals, gathering silently around their deceased kin, intently studying the scene as if taking notes. Scientists believe this behavior serves a practical purpose: to gather information about potential threats in the area, indicating that even their solemn rituals are data-driven and aimed at survival. But here's the truly astonishing twist. When presented with puzzles involving tools, such as using a stick to reach food, crows consistently outperform many mammals. In a particularly famous experiment, one crow spontaneously bent a piece of wire into a hook to retrieve a bucket of treats. No one taught her this technique, she simply figured it out. What humans would laud as innovation, crows likely consider just another Tuesday. So, the next time you encounter a crow tilting its head sideways, observing you with that intense gaze, simply offer a smile. They might just remember your kindness or your past transgressions. 3. Dolphins. The ocean's social manipulators and secret speakers. Every dolphin, from the moment it's a baby, invents its own unique name, a signature whistle, that other dolphins remember and use for the rest of its life. Scientists refer to it as a signature whistle, but in essence, it's an aquatic username. When a dolphin hears its distinct whistle, it responds, even if the sound is played back from a recording years later. This goes beyond simple communication, it's a foundational element of their social identity. But the rabbit hole, or rather the blowhole, of their intelligence goes much deeper. Dolphins have been observed using tools, such as wrapping sea sponges around their noses to protect themselves. While foraging for food on the seabed, they form intricate alliances, employ clever tricks to outmaneuver rival groups, and even coordinate attacks with a precision that resembles synchronized swimmers, albeit with a darker sense of humor. In captivity, their intelligence takes an even more unsettling turn. they've learned to lie. At one marine park, trainers rewarded dolphins for bringing trash from their pools. One particularly clever dolphin began stashing larger pieces of trash under a rock, then deliberately tearing off small fragments one at a time to present to the trainers, thus earning multiple rewards for a single item. It literally invented a scam, demonstrating a profound understanding of cause and effect in human behavior. Their intelligence isn't just about imitation, it's deeply rooted in social manipulation. They engage in complex mind games, flirtation, sophisticated cooperation, and occasional acts of rebellion. In short, dolphins are the charming yet calculating con artists of the sea. And perhaps the most unsettling aspect is the possibility that they understand us far better than we understand them, silently observing and interpreting our actions. 4. Parrots. Mimicking meaning and adapting to culture. While most animals can mimic sounds, parrots, particularly African gray parrots, mimic meaning. In groundbreaking studies conducted at Harvard and the University of Arizona, parrots like the legendary Alex demonstrated an astonishing capacity to identify colors and shapes, and even articulate basic emotions. Alex wasn't just repeating words, he was using them contextually. When he grew weary of repetitive tests, he would assertively snap, "Want to go back?" or famously, "No, you're wrong," to the researcher, effectively correcting human error rather than merely echoing phrases. Alex also exhibited a remarkable degree of emotional intelligence. On one occasion, after being scolded by a handler, he paused, looked her directly in the eyes, and uttered, "I'm sorry." Scientists continue to debate whether this was learned mimicry or a genuine expression of remorse, but regardless, it was effective. He earned a treat. More recently, some modern parrots have shown a level of self-awareness previously thought exclusive to apes and dolphins. They can utilize mirrors, make specific requests for food, and even hold grudges when ignored by their human companions. Owners frequently describe them as toddlers with wings, simultaneously adorable, cunningly manipulative, and terrifyingly observant. Adding another layer to their intelligence, researchers in 2016 discovered that wild parrots in Australia actually develop distinct accents depending on their social groups. If a parrot from one flock is introduced to another, it will gradually alter its calls to assimilate, much like a human picking up local slang after moving to a new city. These birds don't just speak, they adapt, they integrate, and they evolve their communication, showcasing intelligence on an entirely new and cultural level. 5. Rats. Ticklish geniuses with empathy and cunning. Rats suffer from a severe image problem. Most people conjure images of dirty, disease-ridden pests, not emotional, ticklish geniuses. However, controlled laboratory experiments have revealed a far more complex reality. Neuroscientist Jaak Panksepp discovered that rats actually laugh, a high-frequency chirping sound, when tickled or engaged in play. What's more, they actively chase the researcher's hand, seeking more tickles, much like an excited puppy. Beyond their surprising capacity for joy, rats also dream, plan, and display profound empathy. In compelling experiments, when one rat is confined in a small box, its companions will often forego immediate food rewards and actively work to free their trapped peer. This empathy, however, isn't universal. They tend to ignore trapped rats of a different species, demonstrating that they possess both empathy and, rather unsettlingly, a form of prejudice, much like humans. Their intelligence extends significantly into navigation and cooperation. Maze studies have shown that rats can learn complex routes after only a single exposure and consistently choose paths that minimize risk, a skill that even some human drivers struggle with. Unlike many animals, they've also been observed to feign ignorance to avoid punishment, a clear indication that they understand consequences and can strategically manipulate situations. Perhaps this cunning and resilience explain why rats have successfully colonized every continent except Antarctica. They are survivors, strategists, and, surprisingly, comedians all rolled into one. The next time you see a rat scurrying along a subway rail, staring directly at you, understand that what you might perceive as fear is, in fact, calculating observation. 6. Elephants. Grieving giants with profound empathy and wisdom. Elephants are truly emotional giants. They don't just remember, they grieve with a depth that mirrors human sorrow. When a herd encounters the bones of a deceased elephant, they instinctively stop, gently touch the remains with their trunks, and stand in profound silence. There are heartbreaking accounts of mothers carrying the body of their deceased calf for days, unable to let go. Scientists who have studied elephant funerals, admit it's one of the most difficult and poignant spectacles to witness in the animal kingdom. Their intelligence is also strikingly evident in their sophisticated social organization. Matriarchs, the wise female leaders, possess an incredible memory, recalling the precise location of water sources across decades and identifying hundreds of individual elephants by sound alone. During severe droughts, the matriarch's decisions are literally life or death, determining the survival of the entire herd. This isn't just memory, it's leadership deeply rooted in empathy, wisdom, and accumulated knowledge. Beyond their social structure, elephants have been documented performing remarkable acts of kindness. They've been observed helping injured animals, cooperating with humans, and skillfully using tools like branches to scratch themselves or swat flies. In one particularly moving instance, a group of elephants was seen deliberately freeing a group of trapped antelope from an enclosure, with no apparent reward for themselves. And perhaps the most haunting sign of their advanced cognition. Elephants recognize themselves in mirrors, a hallmark of self-awareness that is incredibly rare, even among primates. They comprehend their own identity, they understand the devastating finality of loss, and they feel profound connection. The only significant difference separating their grief from ours is that they do it with a quiet, dignified sorrow. 7. Cuttlefish. Deceptive masters of disguise and strategic planners. If the ocean had a thriving underworld of con artists, every single one of them would likely be a cuttlefish. These soft-bodied masters of disguise possess an unparalleled ability to instantly change their color, texture, and even intricate patterns in less than a second. Faster than most people can register a change in their Wi-Fi signal. This remarkable skill isn't solely for camouflage, they weaponize it for psychological warfare. Male cuttlefish, for instance, have been observed faking their gender to sneak past rivals. When a dominant male is guarding a female, a smaller, less imposing male will strategically switch half of its body to display female coloration and patterns, allowing it to swim by undetected on one side. Simultaneously, the other half of its body, facing the actual female, will flash secret courtship patterns. Essentially, it's flirting in stealth mode, a truly ingenious act of deception. Even more astonishing, researchers have discovered that cuttlefish can count and plan ahead with surprising foresight. In controlled tests, if a cuttlefish is aware that a larger, more desirable shrimp will appear later, it will deliberately skip eating smaller, immediate snacks, demonstrating delayed gratification. This behavior is strikingly similar to the famous marshmallow test used with children, indicating strategic thinking rather than mere instinct. And their brains? They're shaped like a donut, wrapped around their esophagus, meaning every meal they consume literally passes through their brain. Yet, despite this peculiar anatomy, they somehow manage to outsmart scientists on a regular basis. So, the next time you witness a cuttlefish pulsing with vibrant, rainbow colors on a coral reef, remember that it's not just random beauty. It's a complex form of communication, sophisticated camouflage, and perhaps, a subtle hint of oceanic sarcasm. 8. The psychic jumping spider. Tiny hunter with a master plan. If spiders already send shivers down your spine, prepare to meet Portia asterisk. A genus of tiny jumping spiders so intelligent that researchers affectionately, or perhaps apprehensively, refer to them as spiders with a plan. Unlike most spiders that rely on brute force or intricate webs, Portia hunts other spiders through an elaborate process of stalking, studying, and strategizing. It observes its victim from a distance, meticulously learning its behavior patterns, and then meticulously crafts a unique attack plan tailored for each individual prey. Imagine if your dinner were to plan a complex chess match before consuming you. That's the level of cognitive effort Portia puts into its meals. When presented with complex mazes and lab tests, Portia demonstrates an astonishing ability to mentally visualize routes. It can choose the correct path even when the target is out of its immediate line of sight, a skill known as mental mapping. This is a cognitive ability that most insects are not believed to possess, setting Portia apart in the invertebrate world. And here's the truly unsettling part. Portia actively employs deception. It will vibrate the victim's web to mimic the struggles of a trapped insect, then launch its attack once the unsuspecting host approaches. Sometimes, it even goes further, mimicking the mating signals of other spiders to lure them into a deadly trap. It's the ultimate serial manipulator, the Hannibal Lecter of the arthropod world, tiny, incredibly patient, and unnervingly clever. Scientists once described it as a thinking spider, a phrase that, for anyone with arachnophobia, might just be the most terrifying thing they hear all year. 9. Orcas. Tactical masterminds with complex cultures. Orcas are not just powerful predators, they are terrifyingly brilliant. They communicate with distinct dialects, teach each other intricate new hunting techniques, and possess a remarkable ability to share generational knowledge, much like underwater professors passing down expertise. Off the coast of Argentina, some orcas have developed and refined a unique, high-risk hunting method, intentionally beaching themselves to snatch seals from the shore, then wriggling back into the water. Crucially, they teach this exact technique to their calves, passing down this specialized knowledge across generations, creating a truly unique cultural tradition. In the Pacific Northwest, different orca pods exhibit distinct cultures, not just in their vocalizations but also in their diets and social behaviors. Some pods exclusively hunt fish, while others prefer marine mammals, and they stubbornly refuse to mix diets, even when food sources are scarce. This isn't just biological evolution, it's a powerful demonstration of cultural tradition, maintained through social learning and group identity. Their problem-solving skills are so advanced they border on eerie. In captivity, orcas have been known to collaborate to short-circuit sensors, cleverly trick trainers, or manipulate feeding times to their advantage. In one incredible instance, an orca learned to spit fish onto the surface of the water to bait seagulls, then shared this ingenious technique with its tank mates. Yes, they invented fishing. More recently, groups of orcas off the coast of Spain have begun a perplexing behavior, ramming luxury yachts. Scientists attribute this to social learning, perhaps driven by curiosity or a coordinated response to perceived threats. But many observers interpret it as something akin to oceanic revenge. If crows are the street-smart tricksters of the sky, orcas are undoubtedly the tactical masterminds of the sea. Charismatic, incredibly organized, and just a little bit terrifying in their boundless intelligence. 10. Chimpanzees. Our closest cousins, masters of self-awareness and social chess. If evolution had a VIP section, chimpanzees would undoubtedly be seated right next to us, casually sipping coconut water and perhaps casting a sideways glance at our convoluted tax systems. Sharing a staggering 98.8% of our DNA, the similarities between humans and chimps are not just superficial. They are profound, manifesting in an array of eerily human-like behaviors. They adeptly use tools, engage in complex intergroup wars, practice deception, and manipulate social alliances with the cunning of seasoned politicians. One of the most definitive tests of advanced cognition is the mirror test for self-awareness. In a famous experiment, researchers placed mirrors in front of various animals. Most ignored their reflection or attacked it, perceiving it as another creature. Chimpanzees, however, reacted entirely differently. They began inspecting their teeth, touching their faces, and even curiously examining body parts they couldn't normally see. This demonstrated a clear understanding that the reflection was themselves asterisk, passing the gold standard of self-awareness with flying colors. But their intelligence extends far beyond self-recognition. Wild chimpanzees craft spears to hunt bush babies, set sophisticated ambush traps, and meticulously teach their offspring how to sharpen sticks for hunting. Some even fake emotions to achieve their goals, pretending to cry for sympathy, or screaming to attract adult attention when they lose a fight, a clear display of calculated manipulation. Perhaps the most haunting example of their shared humanity, however, is their response to death. When a member of their group dies, chimps mourn. They touch the body, meticulously clean its fur, and sit in somber silence. This is not mere instinct. It is profound grief, a raw awareness of loss that truly blurs the line between animal and human. It suggests that perhaps we are not as far removed from our primate cousins as we often like to believe. The main difference, it seems, is that when we throw tantrums, we often call it expressing our feelings. 11. Slime mold. The brainless blob that outsmarts scientists. You'd naturally assume that something named slime mold would never make a list of intelligent creatures. Yet, this unassuming yellow blob, Physarum polycephalum *, has consistently outsmarted scientists for decades. What makes it truly extraordinary is its complete lack of a brain, nerves, or any discernible organs. Despite this, it possesses astonishing capabilities. It can solve mazes, navigate complex terrain, and even remember past routes. Yes, a mere pile of goo can literally learn and optimize. In a remarkable experiment, Researchers placed slime mold in a maze with food sources at two distinct ends. Within a matter of hours, the mold had formed a perfectly optimized network of protoplasmic tubes connecting the food, effectively finding the shortest and most efficient path, much like a living, organic Google Maps. In another iconic test, when food was placed at points corresponding to major cities, the slime mold spontaneously recreated the intricate layout of Tokyo's rail system, a feat of bioengineering that even human engineers marvel at. Imagine the actual Tokyo subway map designed by slime. Furthermore, when exposed to unpleasant stimuli, such as salt, it remembers to avoid that path in the future, storing this memory through chemical pulses that propagate throughout its body. Its efficiency in problem solving is so profound that computer scientists are now actively studying slime mold's behavior. Don't forget to support this kind of content by subscribing and watching this other super curious video you'll love.